Steve Harvey make Lori Harvey date Diddy. What's up with that?
Of course. Like, why is not nobody looking at Steve Harvey sideways, G? You let your daughter date the diddler?
Did Steve Harvey actually trade his daughter's reputation for a seat at the billionaire's table, or is Lori Harvey just the most efficient industry passer we've ever seen? I mean, let's be real for a second, why is nobody looking at the family man Steve Harvey sideways? You're out here giving relationship advice on national TV while your daughter is moving through the industry like she's on a 10-day contract. Is she dating this man, or is she just sampling the inventory before the next deal is signed? Jaguar Wright just stepped into the chat, and honey, she didn't just bring tea, she brought the whole receipts folder from the Diddy archives. We're talking about a girl who was spotted in them streets with Justin Combs, and then, before the dust could even settle, she's spotted with his father, Diddy. Does that even sound normal to you? And ever since Diddy got pinched by the feds, have you noticed how quiet the Harvey household has become? It's like they're all trying to hit the delete button on the last 5 years of their lives. But you can't delete what the streets already saw. Jaguar Wright is claiming that Steve didn't just allow this, she's alleging he orchestrated it. Was Lori a daughter, or was she a peace offering to the Hollywood elite? Why did Michael B. Jordan, the internet's golden boy, look like he saw a ghost after that breakup? And why did Damson Idris run for the hills the moment he caught Lori being Lori? Buckle up, because we are diving deep into the Harvey family's dark blueprint. From Marjorie's Gold Digger 101 lessons to Steve's alleged favor machine with the diddler, we're exposing why Lori Harvey can't and won't keep a man. Is she the ultimate player, or is she the ultimate victim of her father's ambition? Let's get into it, because the truth is messier than a Sunday brunch at the Harvey mansion. The industry is shaking right now because the veil is finally being lifted on the Harvey family empire and what Jaguar Wright is calling the most calculated social climbing operation in Hollywood history. We have all watched Lori Harvey move from one high-profile man to another like she is collecting infinity stones, but the narrative has always been that she is just a young woman having fun and dating like a man. But what if that is the biggest lie ever told to the public? What if Lori isn't the one choosing these men, but is actually being placed in these positions by the two people she trusts most? Jaguar Wright has officially entered the chat with some of the most explosive allegations we have seen since the Diddy investigation began. She is outrightly accusing Steve Harvey of being the ultimate industry broker, alleging that he used Lori to maintain his standing and keep the favor machine going with the most powerful and dangerous men in the business. We have to look at the track record because the numbers do not lie and the timing is far too suspicious to be accidental. Every single time Steve needed a boost or a connection, Lori was suddenly on the arm of a mogul who could make it happen. Think about the transition from Justin Combs to his own father, Puffy. People want to act like that was just a messy situation, but Jaguar is saying that was a vetted transition. She is claiming that Justin was the tester to see if Lori could handle the party scene, and once she proved she could keep her mouth shut and play the part, she was handed over to the big fish. This isn't just a daughter dating, this is a business transaction. And why is nobody holding Steve accountable for this? He sits on a stage every morning acting like the moral compass of the community, but his own backyard is filled with industry secrets that are starting to leak out like a broken pipe. The controversy isn't just about who she dates, but the how and the why. We have seen her go from Memphis Depay to Trey Songz, then to Future, then to Michael B. Jordan, and most recently to Damson Idris. But the pattern is always the same. As soon as the man starts talking about real commitment or marriage, or as soon as they get too nice, the relationship is nuked. Jaguar Wright suggests this is because Lori is under a strict contract from Marjorie Harvey. The allegation is that Marjorie has trained Lori to never actually fall in love because love doesn't pay the bills, proximity to power does. Let's talk about Marjorie for a second because you cannot understand Lori without understanding the woman who raised her. Marjorie's history is well documented in the streets. She went from being involved with some of the biggest lords in Memphis to somehow securing the bag with Steve Harvey. The rumors are that she didn't just marry Steve, she conquered him. She reportedly pushed out his old life, isolated him from his previous connections, and rebuilt him into a brand that she could control. And now, she has duplicated that model in her daughter. The public reaction to the Jaguar Wright expose has been a mix of total shock and "I knew it" moments. People are looking back at the photos of Lori and Diddy in Italy and seeing them in a completely different light. It wasn't a romance, it looked like a presentation. Jaguar claims that Steve has a very inappropriate relationship with the diddler, and that their bond was cemented through these arrangements. If a father is willing to let his daughter be around a man with the reputation that Diddy had long before the arrest, what does that tell you about the father's own character? We also have to address the Damson Idris situation because that was the most recent domino to fall. The rumors are flying that Damson didn't just leave Lori, he escaped. There are reports circulating that Damson realized he was part of a publicity rotation, and that his role was to keep Lori relevant after she fumbled Michael B. Jordan. When the news broke that Damson was spotted with Overly, the internet went wild because it was the first time a man had seemingly moved on from Lori faster than she moved on from them. It was a hit to her brand of being ungettable. But why is her reputation at an all-time low? Because the audience is getting tired of the same script. You can only do the mystery girl act for so long before people realize there might not be much substance behind the mystery. Jaguar Wright is saying that the reason Lori can't keep a man isn't because she's too independent, but because she's too compromised. Once these men get behind the scenes and see the influence Marjorie and Steve have over her every move, they realize they aren't in a relationship with a woman, they are in a partnership with a corporation. There are even whispers of a black book that Diddy kept, and names are starting to surface. If Lori's name is in that book in any capacity that isn't just social, the Harvey empire will crumble overnight. Steve has spent millions of dollars and decades of time building an image as the ultimate family man and a man of God. If it turns out he was acting as a gatekeeper for his daughter to enter these high-stakes, predatory circles, there is no coming back from that. The gag orders he reportedly put on his ex-wife Mary won't work on the federal government or on whistleblowers like Jaguar. The fallout is already starting. We are seeing major brands hesitate to renew contracts. We are seeing the social media comments go from "body goals" to "what's the truth?" Lori's recent threat to sue people for false narratives is being seen as a desperate move to silence the gossip before it turns into a full-blown investigation. If everything is fine, why are you so worried about clickbait? Usually, people only start threatening lawsuits when the narrative starts getting a little too close to the actual facts. Jaguar Wright isn't just talking to hear herself speak, she is challenging the very foundation of the Harvey family. She is asking the questions that the mainstream media is too afraid to ask because Steve is a power player. But in the world of independent commentary, we see the cracks. We see the way Michael B. Jordan looked at the Oscars, free. We see the way Future threw shade in his lyrics, basically saying that she's for the streets and Steve knows it. When the toxic king himself is calling you out for being too much, that says a lot. This entire situation is a case study in how fame can be manufactured and how it can be destroyed. Lori was supposed to be the it girl for the next decade, but if she is tainted by the Diddy scandal via her father's alleged deals, she becomes radioactive. No high-level actor or athlete is going to want to be associated with that kind of heat. It's one thing to date a girl with a long list of exes, it's another thing to date a girl whose father is allegedly trading favors with the most notorious name in the industry right now. As we move further into this investigation, we have to look at the financial aspect. How much of the Harvey's current lifestyle is funded by these connections? If Steve is truly the broker Jaguar claims he is, then the money trail should lead back to some very interesting places. We are looking at potential corruption on a scale that would make a movie script look tame. The public is waiting for the next slip-up, the next leaked photo, or the next inside source to confirm what Jaguar is screaming from the rooftops. The narrative of the independent woman is a powerful shield, but it is starting to crack. People are noticing that Lori never seems to date anyone who isn't a somebody. There are no quiet dates with a regular guy. It is always a paparazzi-heavy, high-fashion, high-profile event. That isn't dating, that is branding. And when the brand is built on a foundation of alleged industry deals and parental manipulation, it is only a matter of time before the whole house of cards comes falling down. Jaguar Wright says that Steve Harvey has an inappropriate relationship with the diddler, and that is the thread we need to pull. What does that mean? Does it mean financial ties? Does it mean shared secrets? Or does it mean they were both involved in the same system of trading and using people to stay at the top? If Steve Harvey was okay with his daughter being in that environment, he has a lot of explaining to do to the millions of fathers who look up to him for advice. Lori's game might truly be up because the men in the industry are starting to talk to each other. They are realizing that being with Lori Harvey comes with a side of Marjorie's ambition and Steve's baggage. And in 2026, nobody wants to be tied to a sinking ship, especially one that is being steered by parents who might be more interested in the favor machine than their daughter's actual happiness. The investigation continues, and the deeper we go, the darker the Harvey mansion begins to look. This isn't just about a breakup, it's about the total exposure of a family that thought they were untouchable, until Jaguar Wright decided to pull the curtain back. The transition from the Diddy era into the Michael B. Jordan era was supposed to be Lori's ultimate redemption arc, but according to industry insiders and the explosive commentary from Jaguar Wright, it was just another calculated move in the Harvey family playbook. When Michael B. Jordan entered the picture, the world saw a Hollywood power couple, but behind the scenes, rumors were swirling that this was a carefully orchestrated image cleanup campaign. Steve Harvey needed a way to distance his daughter from the party girl narrative that had followed her since the Diddy and Justin Combs days, and who better to do that with than the most liked man in Hollywood. Jaguar Wright alleges that the relationship with Michael B. Jordan was the most high-stakes contract Lori had ever signed. The goal was simple: make her the face of a wholesome, high-class romance to erase the memory of those Italian yacht trips with the diddler. But as we saw, even the most expensive PR machine couldn't keep that fire burning forever. When they broke up, the public was told it was because Lori wasn't ready to commit, but the streets are saying something much darker. The rumor is that Michael B. Jordan started seeing the strings being pulled by Marjorie and Steve and decided he didn't want to be a puppet in their theater. The breakdown of that relationship sent shockwaves through the Harvey household because Michael was the gold standard. Jaguar Wright claims that after the breakup, Steve was frantic to find a replacement that could keep Lori in the headlines without making her look like she was regressing. Enter Damson Idris. On paper, it looked like a match made in heaven, two rising stars, beautiful and successful. But the public started noticing the cracks almost immediately. The stage photos, the awkward red carpet appearances, and the sudden makeout sessions on balconies whenever a scandal was about to break. The scandal we are talking about now involves leaked reports of secret meetings between Steve Harvey and industry moguls that have recently been caught in the federal crosshairs. Jaguar Wright has been vocal about the fact that Steve's friendships aren't just about golf and cigars. She alleges that there is a deep, dark web of financial dependency where daughters are used as social currency to maintain status. If these allegations are true, then Lori isn't just a girl who can't keep a man. She is a girl who isn't allowed to keep a man because her value to her parents lies in her being available for the next power move. Public reaction has shifted from admiration to deep suspicion. Every time Lori posts a new thirst trap or a picture in a private jet, the comments are no longer just a slay. People are asking, who paid for the flight, and is this for the next deal? The investigation into Diddy's inner circle has everyone looking at the Harveys with a magnifying glass. If Diddy was the gatekeeper of Hollywood's dark side, and Steve was his best friend who handed his daughter over to that circle, the implications are career-ending. This isn't just gossip anymore, it's a question of ethics and parental protection. We have to look at the Marjorie factor in all of this. Sources close to the family, the ones who whisper to bloggers like everybody hates Chrissy, claim that Marjorie runs the household like a Fortune 500 company. Every man Lori dates has to be vetted not for his character, but for his portfolio. The allegation is that Marjorie told Lori early on that a man is a ladder, not a destination. This would explain why Lori seems to have no emotional hangover after these breakups. She moves on within weeks because the business requires a new face to stay relevant. But the industry is starting to fight back. Men like Future and even Drake have dropped hints in their lyrics that they know the game. Future's line, "Tell Steve Harvey I don't want her," wasn't just a diss to Lori, it was a direct shot at Steve's attempt to market his daughter as a prize. It was a signal to the rest of the industry that the Harvey package comes with too much baggage and too many hidden clauses. Jaguar Wright says that the toxic king was actually doing the world a favor by exposing the reality that Lori is for the streets, not in a literal sense, but in a corporate, industry standard sense. The financial fallout of these allegations could be massive. Steve Harvey has built a brand on being the uncle of America. He sells books on how to find a man, how to keep a man, and how to act like a lady. If the public fully buys into the narrative that he has been trading his daughter's reputation for industry favors, his credibility vanishes. You cannot tell women how to be ladies while allegedly using your own daughter as a pawn in Diddy's world. The hypocrisy is what is driving the viral backlash, and the internet is not letting up. Then there is the Damson escape. The rumors that Damson Idris caught Lori, being Lori, suggest that he saw something that didn't align with the it girl persona. Maybe it was a phone call from an ex, or maybe it was a directive from Marjorie that he didn't agree with. Whatever it was, Damson's quick pivot to a very lie was a loud statement. He told the world that he would rather be with a relatively unknown model than be the next man up in the Harvey rotation. It was a humiliating moment for a family that prides itself on being the one to do the dumping. Jaguar Wright also points out the coincidence of Lori's legal threats. Why now? Why, after years of dating rumors, is she suddenly threatening to sue over false narratives? Jaguar claims it's because the feds are knocking on doors, and the Harveys are trying to clean up the digital footprint. They want to scare people into not connecting the dots between Lori, Steve, and the Diddy investigation. But the more they push back, the more the public pulls. Every clapback from Lori is being analyzed for signs of panic. The public's obsession with this isn't just about hate, it's about the betrayal of the American dream brand that Steve sells. We were told that if you work hard and follow the rules, you get the mansion and the happy family. But Jaguar is showing us the dark cost of that mansion. She is alleging that the luxury Marjorie flaunts on Instagram is paid for with the reputation of her daughter. If a mother is willing to coach her daughter into the arms of a man like Diddy for a front row seat at a fashion show, what else is she willing to do? We are seeing anonymous reports of gag orders and NDAs that are as thick as a phone book. Anyone who gets close to the Harvey circle allegedly has to sign their life away. Michael B. Jordan has stayed silent, but his silence is deafening. He hasn't defended her, he hasn't looked back, and he has completely distanced himself from anything Harvey related. For a man who was allegedly heartbroken, he seems remarkably relieved. This adds fuel to Jaguar's claim that getting away from that family is like escaping a cult. The consequences of this exposure are starting to bleed into Steve's professional life. There are rumors of emergency meetings with network executives who are worried about the Diddy proximity. In the current climate, being associated with Puffy is like being associated with a sinking anchor. And since Steve and Diddy were thick as thieves, the questions aren't going away. If Steve was in the rooms where things happened, and if Lori was the entertainment or the social lubricant for those rooms, the Harvey name is done. As we look at Section 2 of this scandal, the public reactions are becoming more aggressive. People are tired of the staged perfection. They want the truth behind the Justin Combs/Diddy father-son situation. They want to know why Steve thought it was okay. And most of all, they want to know why Lori continues to play the victim when she is a grown woman making these choices, or is she? That is the heart of the Jaguar Wright argument. Lori isn't making choices, she's following a script written by Steve and Marjorie. The fake investigator reports coming out of the darker corners of the internet suggest that there are photos and videos yet to be released that show a much more involved relationship between the Harveys and the Diddy inner circle. We are talking about private parties that weren't just social gatherings, but business summits where Lori was used to sweeten the deal. If these leaked details are even 10% true, we are looking at a scandal that makes the Michael B. Jordan breakup look like child's play. The tension is building, and the world is waiting for the next bomb to drop. Jaguar Wright has promised that she isn't finished. She says she has more receipts regarding Steve's financial ties to the diddler and how Lori's dating life was used to scrub money or favors through the industry. The public is hooked because this isn't just about a failed relationship anymore, it's about the potential collapse of a dynasty. If Lori can't keep a man, it's not because she's too bad or too independent, it's because the price of being with her is becoming too high for any sane man to pay. And that brings us to the final realization of this section. Lori Harvey's reputation isn't just at an all-time low because she dates a lot, it's at an all-time low because the why behind her dating is starting to look like a scam. When the public realizes they've been sold a love story that was actually a lease agreement, the backlash is permanent. Steve can keep telling people to act like a lady, but as the Diddy investigation widens, he might find himself having to explain how a lady ends up in the middle of a federal racketeering circus. But wait, it gets even more complicated when you look at the Marjorie and Mary feud that is being reignited. Steve's ex-wife Mary tried to warn us years ago about the manipulation and the darkness in that household, but Steve used his power and his lawyers to silence her. Now, with Jaguar Wright giving a voice to these allegations, the public is starting to wonder if Mary was the one telling the truth all along. If the foundation of the Harvey house is built on the ruins of Steve's previous family, then the messiness of Lori's life is just the fruit of a poison tree. The investigation is moving into the next phase where we look at the potential legal and financial fallout. Will Steve be called to testify? Will Lori's lawsuit backfire and force her to sit for a deposition where she has to answer questions about Diddy and Justin Underwood? The industry is holding its breath because if Lori speaks, a lot of powerful men go down with her. This is no longer just a YouTube rumor. This is a full-blown crisis for the first family of daytime TV, and as we head into the final section of this exposure, the consequences are about to become very real. The legal wars are closing in, and what we are seeing right now is a family in total damage control mode because the consequences of these alleged industry deals are finally hitting the bank accounts. Section 3 of this exposure is where the glamour fades and the reality of federal probes and public backlash takes over. Jaguar Wright has been screaming about the Diddy connection for months, and now that the feds have officially moved in on that circle, Steve Harvey's sudden social media cleanup is looking less like a mistake and more like a desperate attempt to hide a paper trail. Why is a man who claims to be so solid and unbothered deleting years of tweets praising a man who is now facing the most serious charges in music history? The rumors are swirling that Steve isn't just worried about his reputation, he's worried about his subpoenas. If Lori was truly part of a favor machine, as Jaguar alleges, then the financial records of the Harvey empire are about to become public property. We are talking about potential investigations into how these high-fashion trips and luxury gifts were documented. Was it dating, or was it a form of corporate entertainment that never saw a tax return? The public backlash is already manifesting in the most humiliating way possible, the failing of the Steve Harvey brand. For years, he was the guy who could sell a relationship book to a rock. But now, when he tries to give advice, the comment sections are flooded with questions about Lori. People are asking how he can fix a stranger's marriage when he allegedly let his own daughter be tested by a rapper's son before being handed over to the father. The hypocrisy is the financial poison that is killing his endorsements. Lori's decision to finally threaten lawsuits is the biggest red flag of all. In Hollywood, you only sue when you're losing the narrative so badly that you have to use the court system as a shield. But here is the kicker: if Lori follows through and actually sues these bloggers and Jaguar Wright, she opens herself up to discovery. That means the defense lawyers get to look at her phone, her emails, and her bank statements. They get to ask her under oath about Diddy, about the shoes Jaguar mentioned, and about what really happened during those staged balcony kisses. The too nice excuse for dumping Damson Idris was likely the final straw for the public's patience. It was such a blatant attempt to make Lori look ungettable that it backfired and made her look like a caricature of a gold digger. The consequences of this reputation hit are real. We are seeing major beauty brands and fashion houses quietly distancing themselves. They want the it girl vibe, but they don't want the Diddy proximity vibe. Lori is finding out that once you are labeled as industry property, the high-end luxury brands start looking for a new, cleaner face. And let's not overlook the potential for a financial crisis within the Harvey household. Steve has a lot of mouths to feed and a wife who reportedly doesn't do budget. If the family feud money starts to dry up because of the association with the Diddy scandal, and if Lori's brand becomes toxic, the lavish lifestyle Marjorie flaunts on the daily will be the first thing to go. There are whispers that Steve is looking to sell off assets to prepare for a long legal battle. Jaguar Wright claims that the gag orders Steve is so fond of won't save him this time because the truth is already out in the atmosphere. The hypothetical resignations and probes we are hearing about in the industry are just the beginning. There is a sense that a great cleaning is happening in Hollywood, and anyone who was too close to the Diddy flame is getting burned. If Steve was the broker, and Marjorie was the coach, then Lori is the evidence. And the evidence is starting to talk. Even if she doesn't speak publicly, her dating history speaks volumes. From the footballers to the rappers to the actors, it's a trail of men who all seem to have the same 1,000-yard stare after they leave her. The public is now calling for a full investigation into the Harvey family's rise to power. How did Marjorie go from her past in Memphis to being the queen of a media empire? Was it just love, or was there a more strategic sliding in that involved pushing out anyone who knew the real story? The rumors of Marjorie brainwashing Steve to turn against his own son and his ex-wife Mary are being revisited with a new intensity. If Steve can be manipulated into destroying his own family, what makes anyone think he wouldn't manipulate his daughter into an industry arrangement? As we wrap up this investigative look, the tension is at a breaking point. Lori is at a crossroads where she either has to completely reinvent herself away from her parents' influence, or she has to double down and hope the lawsuits scare everyone into silence. But you can't sue the whole internet, and you certainly can't sue the truth out of people who have seen the receipts. Jaguar Wright is standing her ground, waiting for the Harveys to make a move, while the streets are saying that the golden girl of Hollywood has officially lost her shine. At the end of the day, this is a cautionary tale about what happens when you treat your family like a franchise and your daughter like a product. The Harvey machine thought they were smarter than the public, but the public has a long memory. We remember the Italy trips. We remember the Michael B. Jordan fumble. And we definitely remember the too nice breakup. The fallout is here, the consequences are real, and the Harvey empire is looking more like a house of cards every single day. But the real question is, what does Lori do when the music stops? When the industry men stop calling because the price is too high, and the brand stop calling because the reputation is too low? Does she stay loyal to the Marjorie blueprint, or does she finally tell the truth about what it's like to be the daughter of the most connected man in daytime TV? The world is watching, and for the first time in her life, Lori Harvey doesn't have a script that can save her. Now, I have to ask you guys, because this is where it gets really messy. Do you believe Lori is truly the one in control here, or is she just a product of a very dark parental ambition? Do you think Steve Harvey's connection to Diddy is the reason Lori was everywhere at once, and do you think she's actually going to sue, or is it just another PR stunt to keep the heat off her parents? Let me know what you think in the comments below, because the Harvey household is on fire, and I want to see who you think is going to get burned first. Was Jaguar Wright right all along, or is this just another Hollywood hit job? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe, because as soon as those legal papers hit the court, I'm going to be the first one here to break down every single secret they tried to hide. Click here to see the other messy video about why Michael B. Jordan is the one who truly won in the end. So, what do we think, family? Is Lori Harvey truly the one in control of her narrative, or is she just a pawn in a much larger, darker game being played by the people she trusts most? It's a wild thought, but with everything we've uncovered today about Steve, Marjorie, and those deep-seated Diddy connections, it's a question that needs an answer. Is Steve Harvey really the family man we see on TV, or is he the industry's ultimate broker, as Jaguar Wright alleges? The receipts are starting to pile up, and the silence from the Harvey camp is becoming absolutely deafening. This isn't just about who Lori is dating next, it's about the integrity of an entire empire that might be built on the very things it claims to stand against. I want to hear from you down in the comments, don't hold back. Do you think Lori is being coached into these relationships for power, or is she just a young woman living her life? And what about Steve? Do you think he's going to be the next big name to fall as the Diddy investigation widens? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the messiness of the Harvey family, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'm staying on top of this story 24/7, and you do not want to miss the update when those legal papers finally drop. Click the video on your screen right now to see more industry secrets they don't want you to know. See you in the next one.